Hey, welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Austin. This is Gone in 60, and this is my 2022 Subaru WRX. And I've loved this car. I've had a lot of fun with this car. I think it's an extremely underrated platform. And in today's video, I want to continue on a topic that I have trying to bring to light. And the FUD out there is that the Subaru WRX isn't selling. It's ugly. It doesn't sell. It just sits on lots. There's tons of cars. I want to talk about it today. If you guys are new to my channel, please like, comment, subscribe. Please leave a comment below if you guys have owned one, if you've driven one, what your thoughts are. But I'm going to share with you all the facts, the data, and where everything sits. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let's jump right into it. All right, so let's jump into some data. Let's go over, is the WRX selling or not selling? Many people are still attached to the VA chassis. This is a VB chassis, and I got a lot of hate when it came out, as does every single Subaru WRX that's ever come out. There's a lot of hate, but this one has garnered quite a bit. However, there's a myth out there that it's not selling very well. People said, well, in 2022, it didn't sell very well. I see a lot of these cars on lots. So much of this, guys, is dependent on where you're at in the country, and we'll dive into all of those specifics. But what I wanted to do is make an update video on where the car is at in terms of sales. And we're going to be looking at how the WRX is doing compared to basically the last 7 years. Now, something to note, as you look at 2022, a lot of people immediately were like, oh, the WRX isn't selling. See, look, it's really terrible. These cars really didn't start hitting lots like heavily until April. January, February, March, there just wasn't a lot of inventory coming out. And the floodgates opened right around April of 2022 when the dealership started getting an excessive amount of WRXs. And that leads me to a point where a lot of people are like, well, you know, I see a lot of WRXs on lots, and sure, you could argue that they're not selling, but I think this data would argue differently. The reason there's a lot of WRXs on lots is because Subaru's pumped out the volume of them. They haven't held back. They're pumping them out there. You can find deals out there. In some markets, they go really quick. In some markets, they sit. But there's deals out there. They're moving. And I think for the price point, where this car can range anywhere from 29 to low 40s, it's a great value for a lot of people looking for a fun turbocharged car with all-wheel drive. Something to note for 2022, a lot of people point out that the sales were down that year, and they were, but it didn't start out strong because there wasn't a lot of inventory out there. So for 2022, it definitely picked up kind of more towards the tail end of the year. But really where we can really determine, in my opinion, like how well the car is doing is in the second year, in 2023. So as we look at 2023, and you look at some of this data, in March we had over 3,000 sales. And if you look at the entire 7 years of it selling, that's probably in, I would say, about the top 5, for sure, top 5 months selling. And it's something worth noting that there's only, if you look at 2019, if you look at 2020, and you look at 2021, there were only a couple months that ever exceeded $3,000. And so the first quarter sales for 2023 is the highest average that they've ever had on the WRX from these years that I'm comparing and that I have data for. So I think that's something that's really interesting. As obviously July took a dip, but you can see from January to June, it was really strong. And in July, took a little bit more of a dip. But historically, for July, if you look up there, you can see in 2019, they sold 1,700 units. In 2020, 1,800. And in 2023, 1,894. So people are on vacations, people are out of school, people are traveling. It's not a time when they're necessarily looking to buy the car. We will keep an update on this to see if trends continue down this path. But it's very apparent as you look through this that the WRX, the VB chassis is doing very well. As you look at the VA chassis and how that did over months, these numbers stack right up there. They're above 2,000. Some just creeping up to the upper end of 2,000 to 3,000. But more importantly, let's have a look at how it's doing kind of year over year, just so we can kind of get a bigger snapshot on how many units have been sold for the year, what that compares like to the other months. And we're going to run some calculations to see how these last 5 months of the year pan out, and to really determine how well the WRX can actually do for this year. And I think it's going to shock you. All right, so let's take a little bit bigger shot here of what these add up to for the year. How does it compare to the 7 years that we're measuring? So as you guys can see, through 2023, we still have 5 months left in the year, or at least for Subaru. They haven't reported on their August numbers, obviously, because August hasn't ended. But just through July of this year, it's basically matched the sales for 9 months of last year. So it's for sure outpacing it. Now, something that some of you might look at is go, oh, well, 2022 and 2023, they're doing terrible. Now, there's some trends here to kind of look at and to go through. It's interesting how a lot of these are kind of ranked and stacked, but the best selling year was the 2017 at 31,358. So with 5 months left in the year, it's really hard to say what it's going to look like. Here is my prediction, and here's where I think things will end up. If we go August through December, and you take an average of 2,500 sales units per month, which I think is doable, but I also think it's a little bit on the higher side looking at the data, the WRX would finish right around north of $29,000 in sales. So 12,500 plus the 17,267, it'd be 29,767. So if they did that average, 29,767, it would be the third highest selling year in the last 7 years for the Subaru WRX. And given how many people love the V8 chassis, given, just a lot of things in the marketplace, the price of this car, it stayed pretty steady, but obviously it's gone up a little bit. It's still very much in a class of its own. But, if the car starts pushing, 2,600, 2,700, let's say it did $2,700 or 2,700 units on average, which is really high, and I don't think it'll do that. It'd be 13.5 plus 7,267. That'd put it 30,767. So where I think the WRX is going to end up for the year, I feel it's going to slide into the third slot of the past 7 years in terms of the WRX, in terms of sales. So do I think it'll eclipse the 31,358? Based on where the data and things are going, I just don't think so, unless they really do an end-of-year promotion just to try to really get a lot of the inventory out of there. But if I were a betting man on the numbers, I think at the low end for the year, the Subaru WRX probably will do about 28,000, and at the high end, it's going to do almost 30,000, about 29,000, almost 30,000. So my prediction of where the WRX will end up is the third best selling year over the last 7 years for the new Subaru WRX. So where I'm going with this is, if you guys are hearing a lot of the FUD out there, they're not selling, they're not doing well, people don't like them, I would argue based on the data that, is it the best selling WRX that we've had over the last 7 years? The data suggests that it won't be. But the data suggests, in my opinion, it's going to be within probably around 2,000 units of being the best selling Subaru WRX ever. And so the third best out of 7 years, that's no slouch by any means. That's doing really well. And considering, that it takes a minute for people to kind of get a feel for the refresh, obviously some things have changed. Something that's pretty apparent is the WRX sales really started to slump after it did the 2016, 2017 models. When you start getting into the later model years of 2018, 2019, and obviously 2020, some of those were impacted by COVID, but you can see sales slumped quite a bit, but picked back up in 2021 at 27,000. So I really think, guys, as you're looking at 2022, there really wasn't a full year runtime. As you look through 2023, they've basically tied the sales for 2022 and 2023 through July of this year. So, guys, the Subaru WRX is selling. It's selling, and whether you guys don't like the car or you do like the car or not, it doesn't matter. The car is selling. Quit contributing the FUD that's out there. Yes, you guys see a lot of cars on dealership lots, and it's because Subaru's got their stuff together on getting them out to the dealers. And as there's more inventory out there, there's better discounts for you guys. But I feel it's my job as a YouTuber to kind of just shed light on where things are, because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there that steers people the wrong way. I am Austin. This is Gone in 60. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you guys have an opinion on the WRX, if it's selling, not selling, let me know. But this is the data, and you can't argue with data. So thank you guys so much for watching. We will catch you on the next video. Bye.